Hi guys! Welcome sa Asip9. In this video ay itutuloy natin yung series on radicals. This is the 17th video in our series and the 5th on addition of radicals. So i-add ulit natin yung radicals na nakikita ninyo sa inyong screen. Square root of 16, x raised to the 7th plus square root of 9x raised to the 5th. So again, pag meron tayong product, pwede natin ipaghiwalayan, no? Magiging square root of 16 times square root of x to the 7th plus square root of 9 times square root of x to the 5th. Now, yung square root of 16 is just 4. So, ang pinakamalaking perfect square na factor ng x to the 7th is x to the 6th, no? Bakit? Kasi x cubed times x cubed is equal to x to the 6th. And we still have another factor, yung x. Kasi x to the 6th times x is x to the 7th. And then we have 3. Ang square root ng 9 ay 3. And then ganun din yung square root of x to the 5th. Ano ang pinaka malaking factor niya na perfect square? That's x to the 4th, no? Kasi x to the 4th is equal to x squared times x squared. So, perfect square siya. And may isa pang x na factor. Okay? So, again, product ito, which means na pwede ulit natin paghiwalayan. We have 4 times square root of x to the 6th times square root of x plus 3 times square root of x to the 4th times square root of x. Ang square root of x to the 6th ay x cubed. Diba? Kasi x cubed times x cubed ay x to the 6th. So 4x cubed, we still have square root of x. And then plus 3, ang square root of x to the 4th is x squared times square root of x. Similar terms sila. Ibig sabihin, pwede nating i-add yung 4x cubed tsaka 3x squared. So 4x cubed plus 3x squared times square root of x. So for the second number, we have, let's fix this. Okay, so cube root of 125 m to the 4th n minus m times the cube root of negative 8 mn. So again, we look for perfect cubes na factor ng 125 m to the 4th n. But before that, pwede natin paghiwalayin muna yung expressions, yung variable tsaka yung number. So this is equal to the cube root of 125 times the cube root of m to the 4th n minus m times the cube root of negative 8 times the cube root of mn. Ang cube root ng 125 ay 5. And maghanap tayo ng perfect cube na factor ng m to the 4th n. So pwede nating isulat as cube root of m cubed. Hiwalay natin yung perfect cube. May isa pang m kasi m to the 4th eh. So m, tapos may n. And then minus, what is the cube root of negative 8? That's negative 2, no? Kasi negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is equal to negative 8. So this is equal to negative 2. May m tayo dito. And we still have the cube root of mn. So this is equal to 5. Pwedeng paghiwalayin nito kasi product ulit, no? Para ma-compute natin yung perfect cube. So this is the cube root of m cubed times the cube root of mn. Pwede natin i-simplify itong minus m tsaka times negative 2. Pwede nating gawing plus 2m. And then we have cube root of mn. And we know that the cube root of m cubed is m. So this is 5m times the cube root of mn plus 2m times the cube root of mn. Again, we have like terms, yung cube root of mn, which means na pwede natin i-add yung 5m and 2m. So 5m plus 2m times cube root of mn. So natin konti. And what is the sum of 5m and 2m? That's 7m times the cube root of mn. So kung pwedeng i-simplify natin. Dito kasi sa taas, 4x cubed plus 3x squared. Hindi na natin siya kayang i-simplify, no? Pero dito sa baba, we have 5m and 2m, and we can add them. Next, we have square root of a to the 6th b divided by 32 minus a cubed. Hindi ito cube root, This is a cubed. A cubed square root of, this is 49b divided by 32. So ano nga sabi natin pag meron tayong quotient? So square root of a divided by b is equal to square root of a divided by square root of b. So napag-aralan na natin yung property na yan, no? So you just have to review. Meaning, pwede natin paghiwalayin ito, magiging square root of 81 a to the 6b divided by square root of 32 minus a cubed times square root of 4ab divided by square root of 32. So pwede natin simplify yung yung numerator. We have, actually hindi na natin kailangan paghiwalayin na. Pag perfect square, pwede na natin ilabas kaagad, no? Yung square root of 81 is 9. Square root of a to the 6th is a cubed. Kasi a cubed times a cubed equals a to the 6th times square root of b divided by square root of 32 minus a cubed. Ano ang square root ng 49? That's 7, no? Pero may b ka pa na natira sa loob ng radical sign mo. Square root of b. And then divided by square root of 32. So kung nakikita nyo, pwede namang diretso na, no? Dito, for example, kinuha ko yung square root of 81, nilabas ko siya. Kasi perfect square siya, pwede siyang ilabas ng radical sign, di ba? So nilabas ko siya sa radical sign, kaya makikita nyo, nasa labas na siya nito. Radical sign na yan, no? Ganon din yung a to the 6th. Nilabas din natin siya, naging a cubed. So, kung mapapansin nyo, pwede namang diretso na. For example, square root of 81, a to the 6th b. Before, ang ginagawa natin is square root of 81 times square root of a to the 6th b. Tapos magiging 9 square root of 8 to the 6th times square root of b. Hindi naman kailangan dumaan dito. Kailan tayo dumaan dyan? Because I want you to see the properties of radicals, no? Para ma-apply nyo siya. Pero later on, pag abisado nyo na, hindi nyo na kailangan daanan yung step by step. Importante, alam nyo kung saan siya nanggaling, no? Kasi yung iba dyan, sa kaka-shortcut, hindi alam kung bakit nangyayari yun, bakit pinaghihiwalay, no? But then again, you still have to ask your teacher kasi baka required niya yung step by step. 9a cubed square root of b divided by square root of 32 minus a cubed times 7 is just 7a cubed times square root of b divided by square root of 32. Ano ginagawa natin pag similar fractions? Diba pag a divided by b minus d, for example, divided by b. Diba sinasubtract natin yung numerator, a minus d, and then we copy the denominator para maging isang fraction na lang sila. So, pwede rin dito, no? This becomes 9a cubed square root of b minus 7a cubed square root of b divided by square root of 32. Ano napapansin nyo? Like terms. So, pwede nating isubtract yung 9a cubed minus 7a cubed times square root of b divided by square root of 32. Now, this is equal to 9a cubed minus 7a cubed. So, this is 2a cubed times square root of b divided by square root of 32. Tapos na ba tayo? Almost, no? Pero yung square root of 32, pwede pa natin yun i-simplify. So, this is equal to 2a cubed square root of b divided by ang square root of 32 ay square root of 16 times 2. which is equal to 2a cubed square root of b. Square root of 16, pwede nating ilabas yan, no? Magiging 4 siya. Tapos may maiibang square root of 2 sa loob. Pwede tayo mag-simplify. So divided by 2, this is 1. Divided by 2, this is 2. So this is equal to a cubed times square root of b divided by 2 square root of 2. Now this is already the correct answer, pero pwede nyong pagandahin to, no? Pwede nyong isulat as a cubed divided by 2 times square root of b divided by 2. So itong part na to, this is the property na square root of a divided by square root of b is equal to square root of ab. May isa pa. They are both correct, no? Pwede pa natin i-rationalize itong denominator. So, rationalize denominator. Yan yung pag-aaralan natin sa next video, paano mag-rationalize ang denominator. Alright, so sana nag-enjoy kayo sa ating video, no? Huwag niyo kalimutan mag-subscribe sa ating channel. Bring your friends. I'll see you in the next video.